Hey everyone, Airman here. Have a review of Conduit on the Wii. The supposedly game that will save the Wii and give it first person shooters and, lots of core games. My general opinion is, for those of you who just want to know what it is and get on your merry way, meh. It's meh. Like every Wii game, it is meh. To start off, doesn't this look like something that belongs in the Da Vinci Code? There's a bad sign right there. Just saying. Basically, to start off, like with every Wii game, you gotta start with the controls. And they're ass. Just like every Wii game that extensively uses the motion controls, they are ass. And I don't care what Matt Casamassina, these guys at GameSpot, and everywhere else professional reviews say, says, oh my god, the controls are actually good for the Wii. It's like, no, they're not. Okay, when you get the perfect setting on the controls, they're okay when they decide to work. Problem is they don't, a lot of the time. For example, you know how in first-person shooters for every other console, and yes, I am comparing it to every other system on the market. I am not going to give the Wii any, free passes just because it's the fucking Wii. Like Matt Casamassina at IGN. Anyway, I'm not going to give it free passes just because it's on the Wii. Well, like I was rambling on here. Anyway, back on the how in the PS3 and Xbox, you use the right analog stick to turn left and right, and when you want to stop, you just let go of the stick, and he'll stop. Something that's been firmly implanted in every core gamer's mind. And you want to stop turning, you just let go of the stick. You can't do that because the left and right, turning is controlled with the Wii remote, which is also your aiming. So, if you're moving left, pointing to the left, you're going to keep turning left until you move to the right or dead center in it, which means you're going to overshoot your target left or right or up and down or whatever a lot until you finally get used to, I'm nearing my target, head back to dead center. It's also weird because moving around and aiming is next to impossible in frantic gunfights, because you just can't get a grip on how you're supposed to aim. Sure, there is a lock-on feature, but it doesn't really lock on. It just kind of locks the camera in place where you're kind of supposed to shoot the enemy. It doesn't aim for you. It just kind of goes, it just centers the camera on an enemy, which is kind of pointless when you have a whole bunch of enemies swarming down on you. And it's not like it's Metroid Prime, where as long as you're shooting dead center in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, which is a much better game, when you lock on, as long as you're shooting dead center, you will still hit your target. That doesn't happen in this game. You still have to physically aim. It just kind of pans the camera. You can, however, at least customize the Wii Remote specifically to how you want it. Like, if you don't like the crouch button being C on the nunchuck, you can change it to A, or B, or down on the D-pad, or whatever. You can change it to however you like, which is nice, because the default controls are kind of wonky. For example, on the default controls, Z is lock-on and C is crouch. Now imagine trying to do lock-on while crouch and moving around, holding it like this. Yeah, that's very awkward, and it doesn't really work. The other plus on the control is that you can change the settings on the Wii remotes on how sensitive it is. Like, if I want to turn faster, I can set it to turn faster or slower, or my up and down faster. All that kind of stuff. You can set it to how you would like it. But it still doesn't change the fact on how it's just inherently broken, the controls. Again, it just proves to me once and for all that the Wii does not work for core games. It was never built for this type of game. And even when you do something good, or even remotely good, the Conduit is a remotely good game, it just makes me wish I was playing Resistance or Call of Duty or Halo or anything else on another system, because the other systems do it so much better. I mean, this is an adequate game. Don't get me wrong. It deserves, like a 6 or a 7. It's adequate. It does what it's supposed to do. But if this were released on, the PS3 or the 360, no one would care. I mean, it's just another run-of-the-mill first-person shooter, and that's basically what it is. This is only getting as much attention as it does is because it's for the Wii, and it has no other first-person shooters that aren't ports. So, what can you really say about it? Yes, it is, like as IGN says on here, best shooting game on the Wii, but it has asterisks, oddly enough. But then again, the asterisk is just for IGN E3 Award 2008, but the asterisk should really be best shooting game on the Wii, asterisk, because it's the only first-person shooter on the Wii that's actually worth a shit. I mean, it's kind of sad how every place is giving it free passes on the controls and the graphics and all that stuff just because it's the Wii. And the graphics are greatly overrated. They're okay. They're decent for the system. They're not going to blow you away by any means. They look severely last gen. And they look okay. Getting on to the rest of the game. The campaign mode is just like every campaign mode basically since, the dawn of the modern first-person shooter. It's okay. It's weird because it has tons of faults, but all the faults make up for the other faults. That's kind of bumping it up to mediocre. I mean, for example, the controls are so bad, but the AI is so dumb it doesn't matter that the control is so bad. Like, for example, on the second stage, you're basically in an airport, and it's basically like a flight terminal where there's this big empty space in the middle, and there's like 3 plane terminals or something kind of surrounding it. You came in from the other side. You could literally just kind of sit behind a counter, fire 1 or 2 shots to get their attention. They'll come running over, and you can just, see where they're coming from and wail on them until, they realize what the fuck's even going on. And the enemy AI is made for it by the fact that cover does pretty much nothing, unless it's like, almost as tall as you are from the get-go. The crouch behind, like, chairs and shit doesn't really do anything. I mean, the enemy could still fucking kill you as long as if you're doing something shitty. I mean, that's just kind of what it goes on to. The story, you are hard grizzled. You are hard grizzled Michael Ford, a one-man army going on to save the Earth. Again, yeah, that's what all first-person shooters are. Basically, the story, what it amounts to is, they be aliens, shoot they ass. That's all it basically comes down to. It's adequate. I recommend playing the first 2 stages so you know how the controls work and then never play it again. You get this thing called the, what is it? The All-Seeing Eye, or the ASC, which basically functions as Samus Aran's scouter in the Metroid Prime, the scanning visor in the Metroid Prime games. That's basically all it amounts to. But the thing is, you're going to be using that a whole lot less. It's supposed to be used for puzzles and shit, but I barely used the damn thing in all the stages I played in. You can use it to unlock secrets, but you're never going to be exploring it. It's the game is pretty damn linear. Not to mention, it's a shooter. You're not going around exploring things in a shooter regardless. You're also supposed to use it to open doors and stuff, but it basically just turns into a game of hot and cold after you've cleared the room. You're supposed to, a lot of the doors I've come across, you're supposed to look around and scan these little knobs that'll open it for you. But it's so pointless because it's basically a hot-cold tracker. It'll, rumble faster or do this little beep, beep, beep whenever you're getting close to your designated target on what you're supposed to find. It's basically just a stupid time waster. It doesn't really do anything. I applaud them for trying something, but again, I go to another game where it works a lot better. That's all I have to say about the campaign mode. It's not like there's much to say on campaign modes anymore. For once, for the first time in Nintendo's, history, there is a good online mode on the damn system. Hard to believe, I know. But this is all still relative to what else is on the Wii, aka absolutely nothing. You go to another system, again, it's a million times better. First off, you still have the fucking Wii friend codes, which is still bullshit. And you get online and you just, yeah, it's okay, but when you go to another system, I played Resistance 2 directly after Conduit the first time to try and get the comparison, is realize how much better the other games are. For example,